Yesterday we had UFC Fight Night Macau, Figueiredo versus Petr Yan, and that card was spectacular. We had a really good main event between both men, where both Figueiredo and Yan put up really good performances. Honestly, all-time career performances from the both of them. Really good undercard, good main card, really good prelims, a lot of finishes from really good up-and-coming Asian prospects. Overall, really good card, man. They cooked last night on that fight night, and it got me thinking, right? We had a banger main event between two high-level bantamweights. You know, we had Petr Yan, former champion, number 3. Deiveson Figueiredo, former champion, number 5. So, high title implications for both men. And I got to wondering because, you know, a win like that for Petr Yan, right? Already a really good legacy, already a really good resume, former champion, like I said. Where does that make him stand in the bantamweight rank, like all-time, you know, GOAT list, right? Because bantamweight, you know, has a lot of really solid champions that can all kind of fit into that mold. And me personally, right, I'm a big bantamweight fan. I love bantamweight. It's probably like my second or third favorite weight class for sure. A lot of really good fighters, a lot of really good prospects. But the champions are what we're going to be focusing on in today's video, right? Because there's been a lot of discussion about who is the definitive bantamweight GOAT.
Yes, Merab Dvalishvili, in my opinion, is the bantamweight GOAT. Now,
you know, you got names like Dominic Cruz, you know, former champion, defended it during the WEC days. Names like TJ Dillashaw came in, beat, you know, undefeated guys and went on good runs. Names like Aljamain Sterling, who won the belt, you know, in a questionable way, but went on to defend it multiple times. Really gets you wondering, like, how would you rank these bantamweight, you know, GOATs? You know, where would you put them? So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about who I think is the bantamweight GOAT and how I think they should be ranked accordingly, right? I want to start this off by, you know, saying that this is, for the most part, my opinion. So if you get really mad at me for my opinion, then what the fuck are you doing watching my videos? And before we get into it, make sure you do subscribe to the channel because you guys be commenting on my videos and not be subscribed. So what's wrong with you? Make sure you subscribe to the channel and we're gonna get right into it, right? So I want to start this off by saying the two names that I think are at the bottom of my list. We have Cody Garbrandt and Henry Cejudo, respectively. I don't think either of these fighters, even though they were champions and really good for their time, I don't think either of them are really considered bantamweight GOATs. Even if you look at their resume and what they're done, you can't really even make a strong case for either of them. Because in my opinion, to pick a definitive bantamweight GOAT, it depends on dominance. It depends on who they fought, resume, how have they beaten the people on their resume, what was their legacy like, right? When it comes to a guy like Cody Garbrandt, doesn't really check all too many of those boxes. On his way to the belt, he only had, I believe, like 4 or 5 fights in the UFC. Wasn't even that highly ranked when he got his title shot, and all the way up to his title shot, didn't really beat too many definitive names to get to where he got. Competitive fight with Dominic Cruz, a lot more competitive and close than people want to give it credit for because of the highlights. But it was, you know, a pretty, you know, it was a split decision at the end of the day, but it led him to winning the belt, right? Afterwards, in his first defense, he lost to TJ Dillashaw, came back to win the belt, lost again to TJ in their second fight, and, you know, the rest is history with Cody Garbrandt. Went on a bit of a fall off, tried, you know, going to flyweight and got his chin checked. Was on a bit of a resurgence recently, and then Deiveson Figueiredo halted that, so, you know, hopefully Cody Garbrandt can get back into the winning column, but even then, I don't really see him ever making it back to the top. And in terms of bantamweight GOAT status, he's pretty far from the list. You know, beating Dominic Cruz is a tall task, I will say, but no defenses, never successfully defended the title, not too many high resume wins on there. And afterwards, man, his fall off was pretty crazy. So we're going to put Cody Garbrandt in at the bottom. Up next, we have Henry Cejudo, who I mentioned before. For everything Henry Cejudo's done all time, I don't rank him that low, but in terms of bantamweight status and what he's done at bantamweight, I'm not going to put him all that high either because you got to look at it from what he's really done at bantamweight in history, right? Was the flyweight champion when he beat Demetrious Johnson, and TJ Dillashaw moved down, beat TJ Dillashaw, so technically he did beat the guy with the belt, but on his next fight, he was supposed to fight Marlon Moraes, won the second belt, and then defended it once against Dominic Cruz. But after he defended it, he retired. Retired for 2 years, came back, fought Aljamain. Aljamain, had a split fight with him. Fought Merab, and Merab basically dominated. And then now he's in like this weird spot where he's not fighting and he is fighting, but he's not really fighting because he's been focusing on his podcast with Kamaru Usman. No, Henry Cejudo's done a lot of things. Beating Demetrious Johnson at the time that he beat him is a pretty big feat, but that's at flyweight. A lot of his best accomplishments, beating DJ, beating TJ Dillashaw, those all happened at flyweight. Moved up to bantamweight, beat Marias at the time. That's, not a bad win. Beat Dominic Cruz, but, old man Dominic Cruz. How good of a win is a win like that, right? Also left bantamweight, retired like pretty early into his career just to come back and go on a decline. So I wouldn't put him near bantamweight GOAT status. Once we get past those two names, there's a lot more names to pick from. You have Sean O'Malley, Peter Yan, Merab, Aljamain, TJ, Dominic Cruz himself. So picking these next couple of names was a little bit of a challenge, but I'm not really going to go in a ranking sense. I'm going to just talk about what they have accomplished and who I think is definitively the bantamweight GOAT out of all the ones I mentioned, right? Kicking it off, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Dominic Cruz. Won the belt back in the WEC days. Fought Jose Benavidez, defended it against him. Scott Jorgensen in the WEC. Someone else in the WEC. Mizugaki was a win. DJ is a pretty good defense, right? That's about it. The rest are nobodies, right? Came back in his second run, won the belt off of TJ. Defended against Uriah Faber. It's a pretty good defense. And then kind of just left, right? Got injured, disappeared, came back, fought Crew. Got injured, disappeared, came back, fought Cejudo, got knocked out. Then who else did he fight? Rob Font, Chito Vera. That's about it. Chito Vera knocked him out. He hasn't fought since. So I think the thing is with Dominic Cruz, now he does have the most defenses, right? I believe it's like 4 or 5. But the thing is with Cruz that a lot of people kind of forget is you are some of these guys he's beaten. Like, how high do we rank a Scott Jorgensen win? How high do we rank Joseph Benavidez bantamweight win, right? DJ is a really good title defense. Really, really good title defense, right? That's really it. It's DJ, and it is also Uriah Faber. He did beat Dillashaw and won the belt back, which, I'm going to include in that because that was a really good win. I feel like defenses isn't really everything. Title wins also plays into it as well. So him beating Dillashaw and taking the belt back is a really good win, especially for at the time he did it. But, man, these names, it's the strength of competition, man. It's like today, if we were to take prime Dominic Cruz, I don't think he's going on the same run he did back in the day, guys. Like, we gotta, like, be realistic for a second. How high are we ranking Scott fucking Jorgensen, right? It's like the fucking Michael Jordan argument, right? Jordan was great for his time, is arguably the greatest. But if Jordan played today, Jordan was playing against plumbers. Dominic Cruz was fighting plumbers back in the day. Joseph Benavidez, that's a flyweight, man. Scott Jorgensen, who else? Eddie Wineland, I think? I don't even know, bro. But it comes down to the strength of wins that he has. I don't think he's the bantamweight GOAT personally, even though he is a 2-time champion. But his defenses, the people he defended against some of the other people he defended against compared to other champions' defenses and title wins is a bit lacking. Very inactive, kept leaving and coming back from competition. So it's like, is he really the GOAT? I don't think so. And I hope this video kind of clears up some of that. Now, I was going to jump in straight into it and talk about TJ Dillashaw, but there was a name that just came back to me that I kind of forgot about when I was planning for this, and that was Renan Barão. And just to kind of skim through it, Renan Barão at the time, like 31-1 was his record. Dominant, interim champion, defended against Uriah Faber, then got promoted to undisputed. Has another name in there I can't really think of, but he has like 2 defenses, I'm pretty sure. But lost to Dillashaw twice. Went on kind of like a decrease after that. Never really was the same. I don't know whose bantamweight GOAT that is. It's not mine, right? Up next, we have TJ Dillashaw, right? And I know what everyone's thinking. Yes, TJ Dillashaw did do steroids. But let's pretend he never did steroids, right? Which I know it's crazy to say, but for the sake of this, let's pretend he never did steroids, right? He came in and won the bet off Renan Barao. Really big underdog in that fight, and then defended it against him in his next title defense. Solid. That was really good, right? At the time, Renan Barao was, for the most part, undefeated. Only really had 1 win in his amateur career. And nobody really expected Dillashaw to beat Barao the way that he did. So Renan Barao is a good win for the time, at least, definitely. Has another defense in there against Joe Soto, who was just like a fucking guy that they pulled to fight TJ Dillashaw on short notice, right? So that's not really a high-ranking win, so I'm not gonna really talk about that too much. But Dillashaw got some, he got some good names people want to forget about. He beat Corey Sandhagen, even though that wasn't a title fight. Beat Corey Sandhagen, beat Cody Garbrandt twice, fought Cruz and lost to Cruz, went down to flyweight, lost to Cejudo. So a bunch of asterisks on his, career. Did steroids, that's another really big one. But I feel like the thing is with TJ is that you can't really talk about him as the bantamweight GOAT, because then people are like, oh, he did steroids, he can't be the GOAT. Half you motherfuckers got John Jones as your GOAT, bro. John Jones is super steroid man. He don't got shit on TJ Dillashaw when it comes to steroids, right? So we're gonna, like I said, let's pretend he never did steroids, right? Joe Soto, 2 wins over Barao, 2 wins over Cody Garbrandt, a win over Corey Sandhagen, right? So good wins in there. Lost to Aljamain. If he would have stuck around, probably would have lost to Peter Yan, I think so. Lost to Henry Cejudo, even though it was at flyweight. It's a lot of asterisks with him, and it's like I said, strength of competition is also really big too. Cody Garbrandt, 2 wins against him are good, but is it the same as a win against I'm talking mad shit. Cody Garbrandt's a pretty good win, right? Especially 2 wins against him, 2 wins against Barao, so I can't really talk too bad about it. But then that's it. It's just the 2 wins against Garbrandt, the 2 wins against Barao, and Corey Sandhagen, and Joe Soto. But name me a Joe Soto fight, right? You can't, okay? So we're gonna skim over that Joe Soto part. 5 wins that come to mind. 3 defenses, really 3 guys that he beat, and it was okay, those are some really good guys. Also beat Lineker, which at the time, that's wasn't a bad win, but Lineker is not a great win either, but a lot of these guys have Lineker somewhere on their list, so I'm not really gonna count Lineker as an incredible win. But Lineker's not a bad win, right? But it's just those 3 guys I mentioned. And he did steroids. So it's kind of okay, well, is he the bantamweight GOAT? I don't think TJ Dillashaw is the bantamweight GOAT, right? But now, we're really left with 4 names, right? These 4 guys, I think, have really strong cases for it. And I think with MMA, it's developing constantly as a sport, growing into a newer, better sport. These guys are getting better. So I think it's safe to say that if you think these new generation of bantamweight GOATs like Yan, O'Malley, Aljamain, Merab, if you think they're better than Cejudo, Cruz, Dillashaw, Garbrandt, yeah, they are. I don't think that's a crazy take to say, because they are better than them. Things have just changed, and they've grown and developed as fighters, and there's new things to make fighters better. I think it's safe to say that, yeah, they're better than the old class of bantamweight, legends, right? Kicking it off, we got Peter Yan, right? Now, Peter Yan, say what you want to say about him. I think he might be the bantamweight GOAT. Now, walk with me, right? It all makes sense, right? Okay? Beat Uriah Faber to get him a title shot. At the time, that was a really good win. Uriah Faber was 5 or 4. He was ranked below Peter Yan, but still, Uriah Faber's a good win. Won the belt when he fought Jose Aldo. TKO'd him, which was really good. Incredible win. beat Aljamain Sterling, right? Now, I know what you might be thinking, right? That was a 5-round fight. And the knee happened with 30 seconds left in the fight. So let's say if we erase the knee from history, right? And those 30 seconds go by, Jan beats Aljamain, right? So we're going to say that they're 1-1, right? Aljamain and Peter Yan are 1-1, right? So you have an Aljamain win. Uriah Faber, Aljamain, Aldo. Corey Sandhagen won the belt, interim belt off of Sandhagen, right? Sandhagen is like the bantamweight equivalent of like beating a Justin Gaethje, beating a Dustin Poirier. So that's a great win, right? I think so. Arguably beat O'Malley, but you know, I'm one of the people that think O'Malley won that fight, but I can see why people think that Jan won. So we can kind of throw that in there, sprinkle in there, but that's, you know, tricky, right? Lost to Aljamain again. On paper, lost to O'Malley, lost to Merab. Beat Song Yadong, that's a really good win, right? Beats Figueiredo yesterday. Figueiredo's a former champ. Aldo's featherweight GOAT, former champ. Uriah Faber, former champ. Yadong, high-level contender. Corey Sandhagen, high-level contender. Aljamain, former champ. Future champ, really. 6 really good wins. But no defenses. People see the knee. They kind of forget, like, yeah, you know, Peter Yan, you know, he's 2 losses against Aljamain. He has 1 loss, right? And even that loss, you know, 48-47. One judge had Yan up, so it's like, okay, right? But Peter Yan's a fucking beast, and I think he's made his case. I'd like to see him fight for the belt in his next fight, or he can fight Umar. Winner fights Merab, since Merab is ducking and not fighting Umar. We'll talk about Merab. Oh, I got a lot to say about Merab, right? I got a lot to say about Merab, right? But we're gonna talk about that, right? Really high level wins. We all know how skilled and how technical and how talented Peter Yan is as a fighter, right? Good wins, technical. Am I wrong to call him the bantamweight GOAT? I don't think so, right? I'm not going to decide that right now, because we still got some other names to talk about. But Peter Yan, you know, he has a really good case for it, I think. Aldo's a really good win. Aljamain. These are all really good wins that he has, right? People look at the Merab loss, the O'Malley loss, the Aljamain loss. O'Malley and Aljamain were really competitive fights, and he could have won those fights on any other day, right? Merab, okay, Merab beat him, but it's Merab, right? He did what Merab does. But I'm going to talk about Merab, right? So I know some motherfuckers want to be on this damn website glazing Merab like he's the fucking bantamweight savior and king. Ooh, I got a lot to say about Merab, right? Then up next, we got the guy that won the belt off of Peter Yan, Aljamain Sterling. So won the belt off of a DQ. Lost to Peter Yan, but, you know, won the belt. Politics are politics, rules are rules. Defended the belt against Peter Yan in a split decision. Okay, split decision, he still won. Fights TJ Dillashaw. TJ Dillashaw comes in with a broken arm and gets TKO'd in the second round because it pops out. Okay, one-arm TJ. Defends against Cejudo. Another split decision where, you know, it's 48-47, 47-48. So any other given day, you could have had Cejudo and Yan beat Aljamain, right? Even though, you know, Yan beat Aljamain, but I'm talking about the second time. Dillashaw came in with a broken arm. So on paper, he has 3 defenses consecutively, which, you know, he's the only one to do that at bantamweight. So you got to give him that. 3 consecutive defenses. Wins against Sandhagen, Cejudo, Yan, and Dillashaw, right? So 3 of those 4 names are kind of, you know, all a little questionable, but beat Corey Sandhagen. That was a pretty definitive win. But it's like, he gets matched up against a guy who's not old and isn't with a broken arm, and he loses. And that's not to say that Aljamain sucks. I think Aljamain's really good. I think he's a very competent grappler and striker, but is he the bantamweight GOAT? I don't think so. I mean, you can give it to him because 3 defenses is crazy, and on paper, Cejudo, former champ, Dillashaw, former champ, Peter Yan, former champ. So you have good, high-quality defenses. But then you watch the fights, and you rewatch them, and you think about it for more than a couple of minutes, and then you're like, okay, is he the bantamweight GOAT? I don't think so, right? Now, the guy that took the belt off of him, Sean O'Malley, he's definitely not the bantamweight GOAT. But here's why. Right? Sean O'Malley, bunch of cans on his resume, right? Eddie Wineland, Raleigh and Paiva, Chris Moutinho, you fucking name it. Bunch of cans. Thomas Almeida, so many fucking cans, right? Fights Pedro Munoz, no contest. Then he fights Peter Yan. Questionable fight, 50-50 fight. Could go either way, but they gave it to Sean O'Malley. Then gets a title shot in his next fight. Knocks out Aljamain, so you got to give it to him. That's a good win. Then defends against Cheeto. Weird, but okay. Dominates Cheeto. Cheeto's my boy, but, got to call it how you see it. Cheeto got dominated. Fights Merab and loses, right? So what does that say for O'Malley? Right? Because he has one defense against a guy that isn't that high level. A guy in his wins that isn't a bunch of cans, right? I'm gonna just say it how it is. Motherfucker fought a bunch of cans. Fought Cheeto. Fought Aljamain and beat him, so that's like honestly his best win, but that's it, right? Peter Yan's very questionable. Cheeto got dominated because, levels to it, and he beat Aljamain. Take away 2 of those, you're left with Aljamain. So, fun fighter. It was cool when he was the champion, but he's definitely not a bantamweight GOAT, right? Now Merab. Let me talk about Merab, right? Because motherfuckers want to be talking about Merab like he is the bantamweight GOAT because of his resume. Which, his resume is insane, right? You have Jose Aldo, former champion, featherweight GOAT. Peter Yan, former champion, potential bantamweight GOAT. Henry Cejudo, former bantamweight champion. Sean O'Malley, former bantamweight champion. And then throwing a win against Marlon Moraes on there, who at the time was the high comp. Got some solid wins, right? But I'm going to say it how it is. His win against Aldo, right? I'm put that here. And Peter Yan's win against Aldo, not the same, right? People want to talk shit about Mario Batista when he did to Aldo. Mario Batista is not the first person to do this. No. Mario Batista got the blueprint from a certain big-nosed, small Georgian named Merab Dvalishvili, who did the same thing in the same place to Jose Aldo, right? Dominates both Cejudo and O'Malley. Good wins. Dominates Peter Yan. Good wins. And that's it. Lost to Ricky Simone, right? That's all we have for Merab. And motherfuckers want to talk about Merab, right? Some people, Lucas Tracy, want to talk about Merab and put him in these high-ranking spots on GOAT lists and all this and all that. Motherfucker, why? Like, what has Merab done? He beat Aldo, okay, good win, but didn't really do shit against Aldo, just got the win. Beat Cejudo, okay, old man Cejudo, not in his prime. Beat O'Malley, just a bad matchup, for O'Malley. And that's it, Peter Yan. I forget he beat Peter Yan. That's a really good win. Out of all those names I just mentioned, Peter Yan's probably his best win and the one win where he looked the best, right? Because even in the fight with Cejudo had moments where he was like, oh, Cejudo understands it now. He has some kind of motion, something that he's pulling off against Merab. And Merab was just a better man, right? Better pace, better cardio, better wrestling. But yeah, I think if you have Merab as your bantamweight GOAT, you're crazy, right? Maybe if he does a little bit more, maybe if he actually goes and fights Umar and defends it, then yeah, reasonable. But the guy don't want to fight Umar, man. He's scared. Motherfuckers out here calling out Peter Yan, who he dominated, and Sean O'Malley, who he dominated. Motherfucker, go and fight Umar Nurmagomedov. You're crazy. And people that have him in their top 15, top 10, Lucas Tracy, are you laced? Are you high? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
What UFC are we watching? Like, I'm convinced sometimes me and some of the other people that watch UFC, we're not watching the same fucking thing. Because why is Merab in your top 15? Are you crazy? So Bantamweight GOAT, I'm giving it to Peter Yan, right? Like, what? Like, if y'all haven't noticed, I like Peter Yan. I'm a Yan glazer, right? It's part of the game, right? But we gotta, and like I said at the start, it's my opinion. I'm a little biased. We gotta look at resume, bro. Title defenses aren't shit when you're defending against fucking cans. Dominic Cruz, right? Peter Yan beat Jose Aldo. Crazy win. Beat Uriah Faber. That's fucking Cruz's best win. Cruz's best win is against Uriah Faber. So how are people not gonna put the same level of win for Peter Yan? That's bias. That's horrible bias. Because his win against Uriah Faber is better than the 3 wins that Cruz had against Faber. Cruz had 3 fights with him. Couldn't knock him the fuck out. All it took was fucking like 2 rounds. And Yan put him out. Yan finished Aldo. Never been finished at bantamweight other than that. Only, I might be wrong. I might be wrong. I think Marias finished him, right? But Jose Aldo's still a crazy name, right? Beat Aljamain. Like he beat Aljamain. He beat Aljamain. And the rules, maybe I have to rewatch it because I don't know how the hand placement and the body placement and the knee placement, I don't remember that shit too well. But there's a case there now with the new UFC rules. That shouldn't be a loss. That's legal if it would have happened today. Maybe I'm tripping, but you know, there's a case there. There's an argument for it, right? So already you have Aljamain, Jose Aldo, Uriah Faber, Corey Sandhagen. People want to fucking glaze Corey Sandhagen. And I'm a big Corey Sandhagen fan. But he lost to Yan. Clearly, Yan won 4 out of 5 rounds when they fought. Maybe 3 out of 5, but from what I saw and from everyone else saw, he won 4 out of 5 rounds. He won round 2, 3, 4, and 5. Corey Sandhagen only won the first round, right? So there's that. Split decision against Aljo where he could have won. Split decision against O'Malley where he should have won. Lost to Merab. All right, gotta give it to that. Beat Song Yadong. Good win. Beats Figueiredo, which is a fucking crazy win. And he dominated Figueiredo, right? Because it's like, the fight was close. But he was just hitting Figueiredo with shit. And it was shown, I was seeing things in that fight. I had a fucking glimmer, a sparkle in my eye watching that fight. Because when I was watching that fight, I was like, oh my goodness, Peter Yan is back. This is prime Peter Yan that I'm watching, right? My favorite fight to rewatch is Aldo versus Peter Yan. When I was watching yesterday's fight, I had a glimmer and a flashback to the first time I watched Peter Yan versus Aldo. I damn near started crying. That was fucking beautiful. Just absolutely put the pace on Figueiredo, and he just had, and it's not like Figueiredo had nothing, but for everything Figueiredo had, Yan had something. Yan was hitting him with trips, takedowns, sweeps, punches, kicks, elbows, clinch strikes, you fucking name it. He was hitting it against them, right? So I just think skill, resume. The guy was a former champ. Guy was an interim champ. How can you sit there and put other people above Peter Yan in the GOAT status, right? Because he beat Figueiredo. That's a crazy fucking win. Figueiredo was a former champ. Figueiredo was pound for pound. Figueiredo's arguably top 2, top 3 flyweights ever, right? I think it's probably like DJ, Figueiredo, Pantoja, and you could interchange Pantoja, Figueiredo. So he's beating one of the best flyweights ever, hands down. Beat Song Yadong. Good win. Song Yadong is a high-level contender. Beat Corey Sandhagen. Arguably beat Sean O'Malley. Beat Aljamain. Beat Uriah Faber. Beat Jose Aldo. The guy, like, it's crazy. And it's like, if he fights Umar and he beats Umar, there's no argument. He is the fucking bantamweight GOAT. If he beats Merab, if they rematch, there's no argument. Then he'd be a 2-time champ which is something that fucking Cruz has, Dillashaw has, and that's why people rank them up so high because they're two-time champs. If he beats Merab, he's a two-time champ with crazy wins on his resume and is super talented. So I think Peter Yan's the bantamweight GOAT, right? That's my hot take of the day. If you agree with me, leave a comment below. If you disagree with me, leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think about the bantamweight division. Who is your bantamweight GOAT? Who is your favorite bantamweight? What do you think about what I picked? Do you think Peter Yan's the bantamweight GOAT, or do you think it's Dominic Cruz or Cody Garbrandt? Whoever the fuck you think it is. Comment it down below. Subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so you guys are notified every time I upload a new video. And one quick thing, I've been thinking about streaming, so that's something you guys might want to see. Let me know in the comments below. And I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Peace.